Welcome back. Here are your whispered tales. This week we bring you a terrifying story from the depths of the creeping bog, where the ground is soaked with mist and the trees twist like tormented souls. This is The Harvester. Our story begins in a village shrouded in eternal twilight, nestled amidst marshes and ancient groves. It seemed an idyllic place until dusk painted the sky in hues of dread, for when the sun dipped below the horizon, the tranquility vanished, replaced by chilling premonitions and the haunting refrain of a legend. They called it a legend, a fireside story to keep children indoors. But in the village of Graven Hollow, legends had teeth. By day, the settlement looked ordinary enough, smoke curling from chimneys, horses pulling carts, children chasing one another down the muddy lane. Yet when dusk came, the shutters closed early. No one lingered by the fields. No one walked the woods once the fog rolled in. The elders never said it directly, but everyone knew the warning: the harvester comes at night. The village children whispered about him in school, a man cloaked in black, carrying a sack as if it were filled with grain, but it bulged and writhed. They said he moved with silence, his boots leaving no prints in the mud. When he came upon a lone traveler, he would knock them senseless, drag them away, and return only their emptied skin. Tales spoke of the trees on the northern edge of the marsh, where flayed hides flapped in the wind like wet parchment. Farmers avoided those groves. Hunters returned pale, saying they heard screams echoing through the bog, screams that weren't carried by any human throat. No one had ever seen his face. Those who claimed they had never lived long enough to describe it. A young farmhand named Elias scoffed at the story. He was a strapping lad of 19, and the tale had followed him since boyhood. Wolves killed livestock, bandits took travelers, disease took the weak. Wasn't that enough? He was tired of fear ruling the nights. So one stormy evening, when lightning split the sky and the others bolted their doors, Elias slipped away with only a lantern and his father's hunting knife. He walked to the northern grove, to the trees no one dared approach. The rain fell in sheets, drenching him to the bone. But Elias felt a strange fire in his chest, half fear, half defiance. If he proved the harvester was only a tale, maybe the village would stop hiding in their homes like frightened sheep. He found a ruined barn at the grove's edge. Inside, he crouched among the rotting hay, the lantern turned low. The night dragged on, every creak of wood and groan of wind rattling his nerves. But he stayed. He waited, and then he heard it, soft, dragging footsteps in the mud. His blood froze. Through the cracks of the barn wall, he saw a cloaked figure moving between the trees. The figure carried a bulging sack slung over its shoulder, and something metallic gleamed in its hand. Elias's mouth went dry. The harvester. The figure stopped near a tree and began tying something to its branches. Elias squinted through the rain. It wasn't rope. It was skin. Pale, stretched thin, dripping pink. A child's skin. Elias's stomach heaved, bile rising in his throat. He gripped his knife tighter. The harvester lifted its head, and though its hood still covered its face, Elias felt something, a pull, like an invisible thread yanking his insides. Then, impossibly, the harvester turned, slowly, directly toward the barn. The door creaked open before Elias could even move. The figure entered, dragging its sack. The air grew foul, thick with the stench of iron and rot. "Stay back," Elias whispered, though his voice shook. The harvester obeyed. It stopped just feet away, then lifted its hood. There was no face, only raw, glistening muscle stretched tight over bone. Empty sockets where eyes should have been. The mouth a wet slit of exposed teeth and jaw. Elias froze, paralyzed. The creature leaned closer, and though it had no lips, a whisper seeped into the barn, thin and rasping. "Yours will fit perfectly." The lantern flickered. The harvester dropped its sack. The skin inside, too many skins, spilled out across the floor with a sickening slap. Elias screamed and lunged forward with his knife, slashing wildly. The blade cut deep into the harvester's arm, but instead of blood, a black tar oozed forth, writhing like living worms. The creature didn't flinch. It only reached out. Cold, clammy fingers clamped around Elias's wrist. His strength bled away in an instant. The knife fell to the floor. The harvester pulled him close. Its empty sockets stared into him, into the marrow of his bones. He felt his skin tighten, as though it were being tugged from the inside. His face burned, stretched, peeling away from his skull without a blade even touching him. He tried to scream, but no sound came. The last thing Elias saw was his own reflection in the lantern glass, his skin peeling back like wax, his features sliding from his skull while the harvester smiled with no lips at all. By morning, Elias's parents found the barn door swinging open. Inside, the lantern lay shattered. The hay was soaked in black tar, and on the tree at the edge of the grove, a new skin fluttered in the wind, youthful, fresh, eyes forever wide in terror. The villagers whispered, "Another warning, another lesson. The harvester always finds the defiant ones first." And as the fog rolled in again, children swore they saw a faceless man at the edge of the fields, carrying a sack that writhed and bulged, whispering to the wind. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed the story. Please feel free to subscribe, like and share our content. We look forward to bringing you more eerie tales. Until next time, stay safe and don't forget to lock your doors at dusk.